Welcome to another episode of Nidome TV. Sorry about the dramatic title, but I think plastic and consumption just don't belong in the same sentence. I actually lost my mom to cancer as well as my aunt, which is my mom's sister. So seeing that perhaps there's a higher chance of me being cancer prone, I'm doing what I can to minimize the risk. Statistically, 1 out of every 3 person is diagnosed with cancer after all, so why take the risk? So when it comes to using plastic water bottles or plastic food containers, I have one rule. The basic rule of thumb is that when the container or its content is cold or at room temperature, that's perfectly fine, that's okay. But if the food or water is hot, that's a big no-no. That's like really bad, super bad. That's like asking for cancer kind of bad to me. That's where I draw the line when it comes to plastic made for storing food or water. So this includes not ever heating food in plastic containers, even when they're supposedly microwave safe. Same thing goes for takeaway, not bringing home anything in plastic or styrofoam containers, which is pretty typical in the restaurant and hawker centers. Unless they are cold dishes, like salad, I think that's totally fine. So why? I mean, what's the big deal, right? What's the big deal with plastic and hot food or hot liquid? Basically, plastic leaches chemicals and releases microplastics into hot water. Heat accelerates the breakdown of plastic, causing additives like BPA and a lot of other stuff to migrate into liquid. Of course, with higher temperatures resulting in increased leaching. Studies show that disposable plastic cups, bottles, food containers, they can release millions of particles when exposed to hot water. Even at 37 degrees Celsius, which is about 100 degrees Fahrenheit, it already starts leaching plastic into your liquid. What more if you're pouring boiled water, which is what you typically do when you're making coffee or tea, and you carry that in your thermos, and your thermos has a plastic lid, right? That's what's available in the market these days. The majority of bottles, they're actually designed with plastic parts, which is pretty mind-boggling to me. As you can see here, I have this plastic bottle that I still use today to carry water when I head out. But what I do is to keep this out of direct sunlight, and of course in summer I totally avoid using it, because if you leave this out in the sun, it's going to heat up and potentially reach the temperature of 37 degrees Celsius or more, which would then start to leach plastic into water. By the way, this is Camelback. I think it's called the Shoot Mag. I really like it because it has this cool feature. This lid here has a magnet built in, which keeps it on the bottle, so when you drink it, it doesn't actually flop like most other bottles do. So yeah, this is really good for cold water and room temperature water. So what's good for hot water then? This here is from Stanley. I believe all of you are familiar with this brand. It's called the Classic Trigger Action Travel Mug. It's really durable. I've used this for a long time. It's made of 18-8 grade stainless steel, vacuum insulated, and it has that trigger function here for that one-handed operation, which is really good when say you're cycling, for example, which is what I usually use this for. It keeps drinks hot for up to 7 hours and cold for up to 10 hours. It's dishwasher safe, BPA free, and so on. I really love this thing. It also fits perfectly in this vintage REG bottle cage, which sits on my bike. So I've been using this for years, carrying hot coffee when I go out cycling. But I've stopped using it now because sadly the inner part here has plastic, which is in direct contact with hot liquid. What a shame, right? It seems like 90% of bottles in the market, maybe even 95% of bottles in the market are designed with plastic inner parts, which is like, why? It's just so mind-boggling. But before you start throwing away all your bottles with plastic inner parts, remember that you can still keep them for carrying your iced beverages, or room temperature water, ice water, because what keeps hot liquid hot will keep your cold liquid cold for even longer. I got gifted this stainless steel water bottle. It looks like a hydro flask, but it's not. This is Montego, originally from Melbourne, I think, but now they are headquartered in Malaysia. It's more affordable than the hydro flask, which I think a lot of you are familiar with. The colors are really pretty as well. I think that's one of their biggest selling points. They have the best color choices in the market. Again, really sad because this comes with plastic lid on the inside. So yeah, great for storing cold beverages, room temperature water, but big no-no for hot water again. Okay, so what's really good for cold, warm, and hot water? I've been searching high and low for months, comparing a couple of choices that I've shortlisted. Finally settled on one, which I'm really happy. Okay, it's none other than Klean Kanteen's Rise Reflect insulated bottle. Now check this out. Boom, full stainless steel on the inside. So this is also created from grade 18H stainless steel. The cap itself, being fully stainless steel, so the liquid inside will never ever get in contact with any plastic whatsoever, like it should in all freaking bottles, right? And I think the bamboo finish here is really nice as well on the top. I really like that. And the stainless steel used for the whole bottle is actually recycled, so that's really great as well. The only thing to note that instead of plastic, there's just one more other material that's potentially in contact with the liquid inside, and it's actually the food grade silicone that creates this seal here on the cap. I'm not sure if you can see it. So if you look at the white part there around the cap, that's actually the food grade silicone. I believe it's necessary to create a leak-proof seal, but once you actually put the cap back onto the bottle, you'll notice that the silicone may or may not actually be in contact with the liquid after all. Even if it is, I'd say it's pretty negligible compared to the amount of plastic that sits under the lid of most other bottles, right? That said, strangely, Klean Kanteen carries plastic bottles. I'd say the majority of their products actually carry plastic parts. In fact, this is probably the only product that's fully stainless steel from them. I guess the whole world isn't too bothered with plastic leaching into their hot drinks. Plus, I don't know if you've noticed this, but when you drink hot water from a plastic bottle, it just tastes plasticky. Bonus fact is the same taste you get when you drink from a paper cup, right? It's because the paper cups are actually lined with a thin layer of plastic. I think it's called PE or PLA. What it does is it creates a waterproof barrier, preventing the liquid from soaking through the paper cup itself. However, these linings, being plastic, they do leach a significant amount of microplastic and other potentially harmful chemicals into your hot liquid. And this happens within just 15 minutes. So that takeaway coffee you get from the convenience store, if it comes in a paper cup, that's what you're dealing with. Studies found that 100 ml of hot water in a paper cup can release between 10 to 100 microplastic particles per millimeter, or even up to 25,000 submicron particles. To be honest, guys, I don't know what that means. But it does sound really bad, right? So why would you ever want something like that to be in your body? It just makes no sense. Whether plastic leaching actually causes cancer or not, it's a risk I'm not willing to take. My gut feel says yes, it will. Yeah, so I'm sticking to my stainless steel bottle now. And I'll leave a link to this bottle in the description below so you guys can actually check it out. If you found this video useful, I'd really appreciate it if you would hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you so much for your support. Stay tuned and I'll catch you in the next video. Take care, folks.